And in this video I have given an idea of how to perform data binding operations. In a previous video I have discussed about the Visual Studio 2008, how to perform the necessary operations, validations operations and etc. And also SQL Server 2008 informations. In this video I have discussed about how to bind my database column, let's say s_ct column data to my server controllers, like let's say a drop down server controllers. So for that, what is the necessary steps required, let's take an overview of it. So with the use of a toolbox, you just drag and drop the drop down list server controllers in your default.aspx page and then just wait for a few seconds. So you can see that this is what our drop down server controllers. Now my target is that I'm interested to bind the informations exist in my database table. So for that, how to perform, let's just do the steps. Click on the arrow button and then select choose data source. Here you just select new data source. Wait for a few seconds. Okay, right? Then select a database, because we are working with the SQL Server 2008. So you can see the ID will automatically generated. Click on OK button. Our database name is database.mdf. In a previous video I have discussed about it, how to create a database and table etc. Now click on next button. Next button, it will show you the necessary informations, like this is from here you are allowed to select your choice table. Right now in my database there is only one table, which is data binding. Now I am interested to bind my this column s_city column to my drop down server controller. So click on next button, test the query. You can see that Ahmedabad, Surat, Rajkot and Baroda, right? So this is what the data exists in my this particular column, and then click on a finish button. So this what the column name. Now click on a OK button. So data bound. Now save these pages and then run our applications. Click on the OK button. Wait for a few seconds. It will give you the output in a browser. You can see that this what the data generated automatically, bind automatically with the database column, right? So drop down list server controllers now bind with the database column name s_city. Now why we perform this operations? Basically your main question is that why we perform data binding. So again I give you the another example. Drag and drop down list server controllers. Next, like we can say a new drop down list server controllers in your default.aspx page. Now why we perform data binding? The reason is that you just click on a edit button. Click on a add. You are allowed to enter the data by default in a drop down list. Like we can say a T1 and then add. Then click on a T2 and then again add. Then T3 and add. So you are allowed to add the data manually with the use of a edit item. So it will take a time, so many times. If you are interested to bind 100 records, so we have to enter manually one by one. We just click on add button and enter the data, click on add button and enter the data. So this is how we are allowed to perform. But it will contain 200 records and 500 records, so for that we are performing our data binding operations. Now let's take another example, how to bind our more than 2 column, right? In a drop down list we are only allowed to bind a single columns, but if we are interested to show our data in a table format, So at that time we use the grid view server controllers. Grid view basically used to show the data in a table format, right? So for that we just select our grid view server controllers, where it is. Okay, navigations, it's a data, where is data. Okay, you can see the drop grid view server controllers, right? So you just directly drag and drop. You can see that right now it's null. No database column is right now is bound. So we just first of all bound this grid view server controllers with the database. So for that, what we do? Confused? So just click on a choose database source, new data source, database, and then click on a OK button. Same procedure, connection string, select all the columns. Star, that means select star, all the column bound, test the query. You can see the output in a few seconds. Okay, good. Finish. Now you can see grid view is bound with my particular table name data binding, right? Now we just save this page again and run our applications. Wait for a few seconds. Okay, good one. Nice. So this is how we perform our data binding. You are allowed to bind your database column with the like radio button server controllers. You can, it depends on your choice. You are allowed to perform the necessary operations. So we are also allowed to perform the reverse operations, like over here first of all I drag and drop the grid view server controllers and make a relationship. You are also allowed to perform the operations like if I drag and drop my from a data, where is data, where is it, yeah, just select a data source, click on a configurations, and then connection string. You are first of all allowed to over here in a few seconds, before a few seconds I have bind my grid view server controllers, but I am also allowed to bind my SQL data source with the different tables. So this is how you can perform data binding operations manually. You are allowed to perform any type of operations with the SQL data source 3. So this is what the data binding concepts. See you in the next